Labubus! In case you've been living blissfully unaware of this global obsession, Labubus are a line of cute, ugly monster toys, typically sold in blind boxes. The most popular ones are these plush pendant keychains that people like to display or hang on their bags. I equate them to something like Beanie Babies, but with the elements of surprise, because you can't choose which design you get. Sort of like a gacha pull or a mystery box. I don't own a Labubu. They're really difficult to get from the official store.
And I definitely don't want to pay double or triple the price from a reseller.
And let's not get started with Lafufus. So, I am going to design my own. Growing up, my family didn't have much money. Creating my own toys out of paper was something I did a lot as a kid. I DIY'd my own not Barbie dolls with their own paper outfits, and I even made my own Nintendo DS with paper and eraser gameplay action. The fun part was making the fake console, not playing with it, just to be clear. So yeah, I made a poll on my YouTube community page asking you guys what you would want to see if I were to make my own Froggie plushie designs. I had Vocaloid songs, Pokemon elements, animal onesies, and food as the theme. But then I was like, why don't I just combine them all? Minus the food. So that's just what I'm gonna do. You might be wondering why I'm even making these to begin with. So I live stream on Twitch 3 times a week. Viewers can actually redeem for things using points that they earn from watching the live stream. And I've been working on refreshing all of my redeems, and I came across this widget that lets viewers open up a random blind box on your streams. So that seems really fun, and even better, you can customize it with your own plushies. Neurons started firing in my head, and I knew this idea had to come to life. $28 later, I installed the widget, and it works perfectly! Yay! Alright, let's get started. So first, I imported the base dog plushie to use as a little size guide. While I'm drawing the base right now, let's talk about rules that I want to impose on myself for this challenge. I definitely want to do unique elements, like Pokemon elements, and also for the songs, they need to be from different producers. No overlaps, okay? I'm going to make 7 different plushie designs, with one being the secret, and all of them will be in a little frog animal onesie, which I think is so cute. I can't think of anything more fitting than this. So I'm choosing some of my favorite songs of all time. I'm gonna go with Mesmerizer by 32 Key, Daughter of Evil by Mothy, The Vampire by Deco27, Donut Hole by Hachi, Bacterial Contamination by Kanimi Sopi, Karakuri Piero by 40MP, and Senbon Sakura by Kuro Usapi. Quick side note, I can create up to 15 different designs for this redeem, but that's a lot of work, so that's why I'm limiting myself to only 7. But if enough people like this video and want to see more designs, maybe I'll create a part 2 where I fill out the rest of the collection. Let me know in the comments below. For this type of design, I definitely want to do something more simplified with brighter colors and bolder lines. I did simplify my features, and yeah, I couldn't decide on the eyes, so I just made closed eyes. She's like asleep in her little onesie, which is great. I had to look at what frog eyes look like, and there's actually a lot of different types of frog eyes out there. Like, you have the ones that are like horizontal, and then there's like vertical ones, and then there are eyes that just take up the entire eyeball, which is pretty crazy. The little jump ring thing, I definitely had to make it smaller in order to fit the size of this template, because yeah, Froggie is way bigger than a dog. So I wanted to make sure that she was very visible, and as a consequence, the hoops are a little bit smaller than the template ones, but it's a little bit of perspective. Maybe there's a longer strap behind her head somewhere, who knows? So the first song we're going to design will be Mesmerizer, and immediately I thought about like what sort of element it'll be. I think it should be psychic. I really like the little smiley face that is on Teicho's costume, so I decided to change the hair clips to be little smiley faces. And then I thought about adding like a costume. Like, I was like, hey, how about the tie? She wears a tie. Let's do a tie, but not make it too realistic. You know, this song has a lot of allusions to hypnotism. You know what that reminds me of? Pokemon psychic types. To show off psychic type, let's do like floating balls, you know, using telekinesis and using psychic moves. I think for the suit, the onesie, it should be pink. Like the psychic type icon is this pink color and I like it. Of course, I added these spiral in the little eyes of the frog just to make it look like it's being hypnotized. The little balls are actually from the Mesmerizer album artwork where you have Miku and Teto like in a ball pit. That's why I drew little balls. I like these stripes that they use for the costumes for Mesmerizer, so I wanted to draw stripes on the tie, but I didn't like the black. I was second guessing what color the onesie should be. Like I tried red because I was like, you know, red, yellow, and blue is primary colors, but I didn't really like that, so I went back to pink. I thought the eyes were okay looking, but not mesmerizing enough, so the stripes matches the stripes on the tie. Maybe we can make this a game, like for the next one, can you guess what type it'll be? Now I'm gonna add in some shading. I'm just doing some very basic shading. It's nothing too complicated because I want to keep the designs clean. Now I'm just going to change the color of the line art so it doesn't look so harsh and black. I think it looks nicer when it matches the color that the object is. This is actually so tedious to do. I think the results are very much worth it, so having the different color lines really makes the art stand out a lot more. I really like how this one came out. So yeah, this one is Psychic type Mesmerizer, and I did go ahead and I thought about the names of what I'm going to name this series. I'm gonna call these Frog Goo-Goos because they look like little baby froggies. So this is my first Frog Goo-Goo. This one is called Woozy Goo-Goo because, you know, when you're like dizzy and the world spins, it's like woozy, get it? Woozy Goo-Goo. Next is going to be a Daughter of Evil. Here I'm starting to sketch out my ideas for what it is. This one will be the secret because of my upcoming Echoes of Evil album release that's coming out in October. If you're watching this video after October, you can probably just hop onto Spotify or Apple Music or even YouTube Music and listen to the album there. This one, if you haven't guessed already, it is Grass type. I was particularly taken by the Black Rose idea that is in the original Daughter of Evil imagery because Rin is, you know, kind of a evil, not so good ruler of her kingdom. So I decided to change Froggie's little hairpins to be little roses. I wanted to add like a big rose on her chest. I also made the frog eyes have the roses growing out of them too. I just think it looks cool when the little petals are falling out of the eyes, kind of like teardrops. She is a thorny girl, so let's add even more thorn. This is very grass type in my opinion because of all the vines and the flowers and things like that. You can see me referencing the Woozy Goo-Goo just to make sure that everything looks consistent. I'm not very clean about how I color things. There's sometimes a lot of little white specks that I forget to fill out. My lines are not perfect, but that's okay because I don't really care. I just like making art and it doesn't need to be 100% perfect. I'm only human after all. I'm working at a higher resolution so I can see all the little details, but for the final product, you guys won't see like every single stroke. Before we hop into more sketching, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon Ribbit Club. You're the reason I get to keep creating, from drawing fun designs to making music and videos that bring joy. If you love what I do and want to support more art, more music, and more creative chaos, come join the Ribbit Club. You'll get behind the scenes peeks, early access, and coming soon next year, it's a secret, exclusive goodies too. Link in the description. Let's keep making magic together. So here we have Thorny Goo-Goo. She is a grass type, and she's a secret. So like Deco has a lot of different songs, but I chose the vampire because I just really like the Jedi cave fashion. And can you guess what element type she's going to be? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Poison! If you guess poison, then you're right. Poison works really well because the song's about being toxic, I think. I decided to draw vampire fangs for her onesie. I drew the little vampire wings and I wanted to make it kawaii, so I added little frills to her sleeves and like little bows to her costume as well. And she's wearing the mask because that was part of the original PV artwork. Maybe she's also hiding fangs there. And I wanted to customize the frog eyes as well, so I made them look a little meaner, and it's spouting little like poisonous gases from its eyes. I don't know how that works. I just think that would look really cute, so that's what I did. I decided not to change the hair clips and keep them as hearts because that's pretty fitting in my opinion. And I think purple would be a great color for this one. Purple is such like a poison color. When you think of other poison Pokemon like Ekans, Wheezing, Crobat. Is Crobat purple? I can't remember. But yeah, there are a lot of different purple poisonous Pokemons. And I use black as the secondary color, and I also used some red. I think red for the frog eyes would look really nice. And then I added some shading to this one too. Here I am introducing you to the poison type Goo-Goo. Fang Goo-Goo. Welcome, Fang Goo-Goo. I would say this one was kind of tricky. I was trying to decide how I wanted to display a donut hole. And I started drawing like a giant donut around her body, like a little floaty. And then I tried drawing little gems in her eyes because, you know, referencing the new PV, I really like how rocky everything looked. So I was like, let's do rock type. I made her hair clip donut holes. In Canada, we call them Timbits. I didn't really like how cutesy the little donut looked. So then I thought about like, oh, how about mochi donuts? Mochi donuts are pretty round and they have little pieces. It kind of looks like rocks. So why don't I draw like a mochi donut made of rocks? And then I changed the frog eyes to be a little bit more geometric. Make them look a little bit more rock-like as well. Because this is going to be a rock type. I can't really draw perfect circles. That's why I just use the circle tool. It's all about working smarter, not harder. And then I wanted to add little like sprinkles around the donuts to make it look more donut-like, but also still keeping it rock-like. So I gotta make the shapes more angular, you know? For the color of this Goo-Goo, I really like the rich emerald green that Gumi wears in the PV. And then she's also wearing this like red beaded necklace, which I thought was perfect because it matches Froggie's little like mochi donuts. So I made that red. I was referencing the new donut hole PV, and there was that black creature that had these like white eyes. But we can make the creature hide in the frog eyes. I can draw like little eyes in the holes. It's like eyes within eyes. Eyeception. I'll have you know that I have never eaten a mochi donut in my life because I don't like mochi. I just don't like the texture of them. I have nothing against people who like mochi. You do you. And here we are. This is Munchy Crunchy Goo-Goo. Rock type. The next Goo-Goo will be based off of bacterial contamination. And if you guys have ever seen the music video for this one, it is quite horrifying, but also pretty cool looking. I think the most notable feature is definitely Miku's face splitting open. So I knew that my Goo-Goo design also had to have the face splitting open and the little insect legs poking out. I still wanted it to look kawaii, so, you know, I drew a little like schoolgirl collar around the onesie to make it look cute still. And I think that's a larva that is used like a hairpin. Froggie Goo-Goo can also have a little larva. I think it's a larva because playing through Grounded and Grounded 2 recently, I fought and killed a number of these things that look like larvae. So in my head, it's a larva. I decided to change the little arms into insect appendages and kind of base them off of how Scyther's arms look like because that's very cool looking, but also not too complicated looking. Still wanted it to look cute, so I added a nice big bow at the back of her little onesie. Still wanted it to stay simple design-wise because it's gotta match with the rest of the Goo-Goos. I can't make it too horrifying. But also, I want to stay true to the song. If you guys haven't guessed already, this is insect type. Wow, what a surprise. Insect type. I think for this Goo-Goo, red would be a really good color to use. The color of danger, the color of blood and things like that. I like red. Speaking as someone who has green and red in my design for the little school uniform, I decided to keep it the classic blue and red color. And I carried the blue and red color into her hairpin and in the frog eye. If you watch the original bacterial contamination Miku design, one of her eyes is like an insect eye. So I decided to do that as well for mine. It's gotta be creepy cute. That's my intention here. I honestly really hate bugs. I cannot stand bugs. They're so creepy. And I really don't like spiders or cockroaches or centipedes. They really freak me out. I think the only bug I'm not scared scared of is the little house flies because they're really tiny and they can't really hurt you. Spiders are okay when they leave me alone. If they just live in my room and they're just doing their own thing, that's fine. I don't really have to care about them. But if they decide to crawl next to my face, then they gotta go. I don't know if I can share a room with them anymore if they do that. And cockroaches? Absolutely not. No cockroaches ever. I hate them. They're also impossible to kill. I'm just grateful that I live in North America, so we don't have the flying cockroaches that people in Japan have to deal with. Can you imagine a cockroach flying at your face? And here we have Icky, Sicky, Goo-Goo, insect type. Karakuri Puro is a song about a girl who I think gets stood up for a date. But I do remember that she thinks that she is a clown, so that's why I drew the little mask with a big clown nose. For this one, I decided to go for a water type because she's waiting and there's clouds and it could be raining. And in her heart, it's probably raining. And rain is made of water. And you know, water can symbolize sadness. I don't know. I just think it was cool. I thought about making this like a normal type, but I kind of wanted to use some bright fun colors. I decided to make the little frog eyes into more like rounded fish-like eyes. Then I added little fins at the back. I also wanted to make her little hairpins into the cogs that are shown in the original music video. And like the little cogs also kind of remind me of the ship's steering wheel. It's very nautical. So this was very water themed. Here I am trying to draw the little cogs. Decided to draw like a circle and some rectangles and just like erase the rectangle shapes to make it look more like a gear. It's obviously not perfect, but that's okay. Oh, and this one, I didn't know what to draw for her belly because all the other designs had something around the torso of the little plushie, but I didn't really have anything in mind that I wanted to draw, so I decided to just make it like a two-toned onesie. Kind of like how some animals have like a white belly. I wanted her to also have a white belly, but like an off-white, like a grayish white color. This one kind of gives me like Froggie vibes with how the blue color stands out. Froggie is also white and blue, but Froggie doesn't have any orange or red. I mainly used the pink and the red because the mask was also pink and red. I made the little hairpins shiny because I kind of envisioned them being made out of metal because, you know, cogs are usually made out of metal. And because she is a clown, I have decided to name her Jokey Goo-Goo. Please welcome water type Jokey Goo-Goo. The last frog Goo-Goo is going to be Senbon Sakura. There's so many different types this one could have been. I could have done steel type. I think steel type would have been really cool. The costumes in the PV had Industrial Revolution period clothing. But then I just really like the cherry blossoms. So I decided to go with fairy type. I wanted to make it nice and bright. I decided to draw like a giant flower again, similar to how I made Thorny Goo-Goo have like a giant rose on her torso. And I also made like these little ribbon things come out of it along with the little cherry blossom petals. So this one is a very cherry blossom theme. For the sleeves, I wanted to make them very long. I think that would look very Japanese-like. And then for her hairpins, they obviously had to be little sakura blossom petals. I was trying to find like a good way to draw this giant cherry blossom flower, and it has like 5 different petals on it. I was trying to do like this copy paste technique to make it look even, but it didn't look right in the end and I didn't really like how it looked. So I just deleted it and just hand drew the cherry blossom. And the onesie obviously has to be pink because sakura blossoms are pink. Yeah, and also fairy type tends to be very pink as well. And the little ribbon that goes around her shoulders, I mimicked the banner in the original Senbon Sakura PV to be red on one side and yellow on the other side. And I carry the red and the yellow coloring through the other parts of her design, like the little hoop and her hairpin as well. And I also like the really long strings of cherry blossom petals, but I didn't want to clutter the design too much, so I just made one long string on each side of the flower because I think that would look very ethereal, very fairy-like. This design was definitely one of the more difficult ones I had to make, but I really liked how it turned out. So I would like to introduce to you Cherry Soda Goo-Goo. Okay, I might have lied when I said that this was the last design because I do stream with Nick. So in the spark of the moment, I DM'd him to ask which song and element he wanted, and he chose Panda Hero and Dark type. Listen, I know Panda Hero was made by the same person who made Donut Hole, but because this is not a Froggie plushie, I'm just not gonna count it as part of the rules, okay? Starting off with my little Froggie template here, I'm just going to change some of the details. So I decided to change the hair, add in some glasses, change the mouth, and instead of a frog onesie, he was going to wear a duck onesie instead. So I drew in like the little bill and I got rid of the little frog eyes. And like he has a bird on his head called Bonsai, and I like the iconic little two hair pieces that Bonsai has, so I added that to his duck onesie. So Panda Hero has a lot of different types of imagery to it, and it is a dark type. I don't know, dark type is hard to draw. Panda Hero using street fashions and modern clothes. Let's add a little neck handkerchief to his costume because I didn't want to add in a hat because this is a onesie, and I still wanted something customizable. I think the neckerchief works really well. Next was deciding the color that I wanted for the onesie, and because it is a dark type, I thought about making it black, but then the black with the orange bill kind of looked too much like a penguin to me. I tried changing the costume to be like a green color, but then it looked too much like Munchy Crunchy Goo-Goo, so I wanted to look unique and different. And the character from the Panda Hero PV does wear a camo shirt, so I wanted to make it camo as well. And I also like the bright pink and green colors that they have, so I brought that into my own design. I also drew in the little like war paint underneath the glasses. That's why there's a little bit of that black spot. I thought the camo was a little bit too much, so I had to tone it down. I wanted to make it a little bit darker too because it is a dark type, and I didn't want it to look too distracting since none of the other plushies have like patterns on their onesies. I think one thing I had a lot of trouble with was deciding the color of the neckerchief. I thought about using like orange to match the bill, or maybe yellow to match Bonsai, or maybe like a funky pattern on it, like the stripes. The white on the orange kind of looks like sushi to me, so I was like, nah, let's not do that. And because it is a panda, you know, the song's called Panda Hero, how about black and white? Black and white is pretty good, right? And it kind of reminds me of like road signs too, with the bold black lines. So I decided to keep it like that. And I really like the little black cat, so I drew my own little black cat. It's a cute little detail if you know where to look for it. And because this was such a spur of the moment design, I will be making this one a secret as well. So we have 8 designs and 2 secrets. And this one is called Ducky Goo-Goo. And since this is a blind box plush pendant design, I gotta make the box for it. So I created this cover. It's got my logo on it. It's got the name of the product, which is Froggie Goo-Goo. It says plush pendant blind box, which is what it is. For my research of looking at all sorts of different blind boxes, they usually feature one of the plush pendants that you could get, and it's usually not the secret because, you know, it's a secret. So I chose Cherry Soda Goo-Goo for mine. And then on the back side, I've got all 8 designs in a grid pattern, and I blacked out the 2 secret designs because it's a secret. And at the bottom I added like a little fake barcode, and it says created by Froggie Singer, may the frogs be ever in your favor. It's just like a small little detail that I like adding in. You probably won't even be able to read it on the Twitch stream itself when you redeem it. And here's what it looks like in action. Roll the tape.
I'm still hearing the wows in my ear. I think I'm going crazy. Dan can spend his cheese. It's not like he had anything else to spend it on.
For now.
He really wants to get all the Goo-Goos.
If you want to open up a few Froggie blind boxes yourself, hop on over to twitch.tv/FroggieSinger where I go live and maybe you'll get a chance to pull the secrets. I also made these into a t-shirt, poster, and sticker designs on my merch store, so if you want something physical, you can go to froggiesinger.com to get yours today. Thanks for watching and have a riveting day! Labubus! Labubus!